to another episode with Tracy Raymond. I'm your host. Another episode of Your Success at Last Tips to Improve Performance. Still looking for those name ideas. I mean, seriously, at the end of the show, stop by, leave a comment. Tell me, you know what? Stop asking for name ideas, Tracy. Get creative and come up with your own. Make your own goals. Follow your own rules. Walk your own walk. Anyway, again, welcome. I'm glad you decided to join us here today. It's Thursday, and with Thursday comes the question, right? The question is what? What do you really want? Kind of leads you into tomorrow's topic. We always finish off the week with Final Goals Friday, and I think starting the question with what do you really want ahead of time helps you when you're listening to the tips that I'll be sharing with you tomorrow. But let's pause for a second, really, and ask the question: what do you really want? Want to be a millionaire? Want to be a billionaire? You know, while that all sounds well and good, I like money, and I've had money, and I haven't had money, and like you've heard any number of other speakers and podcasters and professional motivators tell you is it's better to have than it is to not have. I mean, it helps you buy nice things, and gosh knows I like nice things. I like going places. I like taking my family places, and that all costs money. Like Zig Ziglar says, money's not everything, but it's reasonably close to oxygen. So it ranks right up there. Do you want a better family life? Do you want a new car? Do you want a new house? Do you just want a new refrigerator? Do you want a new couch? Do you just want to feel good when you get up in the morning? What is it you want? Could be anything. It's always something. I've never come across anybody who wants nothing. They always want something. They may not always admit it. There's the key. So you gotta be honest with yourself. And if you can't be honest with yourself, who can you be honest with, right? So be honest with yourself when you answer the question, what do I want? Write it down. Have you gotten a journal? I know when I started this daily version of this podcast, that's one of the early things I said. And if you're coming in late, I'm going to remind you, get yourself a little journal. And a journal could be anything. It could be just this, 8.5 by 10 pad of paper that you start with, and something pops into your head, you hear an idea, some weird guy on a podcast tells you to ask yourself a question, and you answer it. Write down your answers. And, periodically flip back through them and reread them. Places like Barnes and Noble have great little sections for journals, and they come in various shapes and sizes, and leather bound and unleather bound. And I've got a couple of them that I use for different things. I have some. I got journals going back to, good gosh, the 80s and 90s. Now they're not consistent back then; they're pretty sporadic. But when I wrote like a madman. And here's what's really cool is going back and rereading some of them. There was a period I came across a journal. I was taking this class about dreams and journaling and the link between them two. And one of the things the class taught you, or the course taught you, was to keep the journal handy. And if you woke up in the middle of the night, or when you woke up first thing in the morning, was to try and write down everything you could remember about your dreams. And we all know we've had those moments where you wake up and you have this really interesting dream, and then you go to tell somebody about it maybe as little as a half hour, an hour later, or later in the day, and you really can't remember anything except for maybe some of the emotional feelings of, I had this great dream and it was really exciting, but I can't remember what was exciting about it. But I can, and you feel your heart palpitating, and your circulatory system just starting to pump just thinking about it, because those feelings are coming back. Or it was really scary, and you feel yourself cringing a little bit as you think that you can't recall it. Well, this technique helps you recall some of those things. And I remember, and I came across it, and I remember the journal because I built it myself. It was just in a notebook, a 3-ring binder, and you had all these these dividers that each one had a purpose. And I got to the dream section, and I was reading through some of it, and as I reread it, I remembered the dream as if I was redreaming it. It was really vivid. So having a journal really helps you keep those things fresh in your head, helps remind you of the feelings that you felt when you wrote them down. Again, get a journal. It's really handy, and it doesn't have to be fancy. It could just be some paper, just loose leaf paper, and you keep it handy, and you write things down, and you file it away, and you come across it and then reread it. Anyway, so answer the question today. Make that the next thing you write down in your journal, or it could be the first thing you write down. What do I really want? And we'll talk more about how to get that tomorrow. All right, so I've battled on enough about that. I want to talk to you today about the 3 vital rules of success. And as you may or may not already know, I'm the lucky son. I'm an Army brat. My father grew up in the military. My grandfather was in the military. My father spent 23 years in. His father got out earlier than that. And I'm very proud of him serving his country and really setting a great example of what, to me, a proud man does to ensure his family has the necessities of life. And that's just not serving in the military, but all the things he did were all about making sure there was a roof over our head, there was food in our tummy, there was clothes on our backs, right? A vehicle to get around in. We always didn't have the best of things, but we always had the things. And I will always remember that about my father. As I look back over the years, as I grew up in the military, we moved all the time. I got to see a lot of the similarities from not just growing up and being in the military, growing up amongst the military lifestyle, but also being in it. I did a tour in the military myself, and I can make a lot of similarities between military life and personal life. And one example could be a person or a business or a military unit uses superior strategy against their competition, or to become the victor. So whether you're in the military or you're just a person vying for someone's affections, or you're a business out there in the marketplace, or a military unit, like I said, you use superior strategy against your competitor, right? So I want to share with you 3 such strategies I believe are vital rules for your success, whether it be goal setting for your personal life, your business life, or your military life. Now, the first one of these tenets is that you got to have goals. And you knew I was going to go here, didn't you? You know I was going to talk about goals. Now, we're going to spend a whole lot of time here because really Friday's all about goals, but this is one of the major rules. What's goal setting? Well, the military calls it the principles of maneuver. And this rule really tells us that you have to be specific and clear about what you want. Ooh, there's that question again, Tracy. At the same time, you're going to have to be flexible about how you get it. So there's a slight difference. Know what you want with clarity. Be flexible in your success atlas to get there, right? What your roadmap is. Here's a cool thing about goal setting is that all the studies that I've come across and I've heard about tell you time and time and time again that goal setting, the trait of goal setting, is the single most important trait that you're going to need to foster to develop your sex. No, there's a Freudian slip, right? No editing here. I'm going to keep it in there. I hope you got a giggle out of that. To develop your success, especially in the current rapid changing times we're going through. Things are just changing almost on an hourly basis. All right. Now, to be flexible, as I mentioned in here, to be flexible in how you get there, one of the things you're going to need is feedback. You're going to need to be open to that feedback. You're going to need to be open to it on a continuous basis. Not just, hey, here's my idea, give me some feedback. Or, hey, I took these steps, what do you think? Top performers are those people that take in all the information and all the feedback that their situation or situations offer them over and over again. Even here's the big caveat. Even if the information or that feedback is contrary to the current line of planning, because rather than fighting the outcome this information and feedback is making them aware of, they accept it. They modify their plans, right? They change them accordingly, and then they do what? They take the next step. They keep moving forward. They move on. They move around. They move through. You too are going to have to hone this trait of being open to accepting feedback so that you can course correct, right? As you're traveling along to your success at last, your path to success, right? You're going to need to make some course corrections. You've heard time and again about planes. Plane takes off and it spends what, 98, 99% of the time off course and did a little correction, little correction, little correction. And guess what? It lands there every single time. Okay, I think I read one story about one time a plane didn't land where it was supposed to. But that's another story. That's actually probably a whole other podcast, all right? So always be open to new ideas, new inputs, new insights from yourself, from the feedback of others, or from the actual situation itself. I mean, look at it and say, oh, right? An insight could shave a single insight, one single nuance from somebody or from yourself, just looking at the situation in front of you could shave days, weeks, months, heck, even years off the time it's going to take you to reach your goal. So, I mean, that alone is worth the price of admission, right? Okay. This tenet of being open to feedback leads logically. Wow, what is it with my mouth today? I think my eye teeth can't see. My tongue is tripping over my eye teeth, so I can't see what I'm saying. Anyway, moving on. This tenet of feedback, it leads logically to the next rule of success. This one the military calls the principle of intelligence. Bum, bum, bum. Sounds pretty good, right? Really, let's break it down. It's really simple. It's all about get the facts, man. Right? Just like the old show from Dragnet back in the day. Think about it. In every situation of your life, your relationships, and your career, having or not having all the facts are going to make the difference. Going to make the difference in good outcomes or bad outcomes, good results or bad results. So your ability to make decisions is really hinged on having facts and accurate facts and timely facts, because you know what? The facts don't lie. No matter how much you want to look at something and say, oh, yeah, no, I don't think so. The facts are the facts, plain and simple. Now, you need actual facts, not emotional facts, not assumed facts, or hoped for facts, or facts that were told to you secondhand, so now they could be molded by the person telling you. You need the hard, provable, real facts, the real results. And you're not going to get those facts or results unless you take some action. Now that you have the facts, the quality of your course corrections, your decisions on your goals or the goal setting is going to be in direct proportion to the validity, how valid that information is that you use to make them. Better information, better course corrections. Better insights, better course corrections. You spend the appropriate amount of time getting accurate information and feedback, you're going to make far more appropriate and successful course corrections. Decisions. It's all about that. Get good info, make good decisions. And here's the thing. There may be times you can't get all the info, but if the info that you have is really good and it's 50% there, even if it's only 30% there, then you can add in your experience and your assumptions past that to say, all right, this is the best decision I can make with these facts. All right, so the last rule I want to share with you, that's rule of success, is in the military, it's called the principle of the economy of force. Economy of force. See, economy of force means that you channel enough time and resources to attain the goal and not more. Not less and not more. The military is really good about this. We're going to say, all right, we're going to go this, we're going to go take that bunker, we're going to go rush that hill. Here's what we need. We need 2 squads of men going up the east side. We need 2 squads of men going up the west side. We need a squad holding the middle, and we need one to flank around and come up around the back, right? Or yes, you start going into the special elites, now they get broke down even more. And they really get to the economy of force. So it's all about spending the right amount of time, no more, no less. Now this is a two-way tenet, okay? Now listen to this really carefully. In one sense, it's telling you that you have to commit enough time and enough resources to reach your goal, right? As you've clearly defined it. And when you've clearly defined it, you'll have a good idea of what you need to do. And some of those things you don't have yet, so you need to go get those resources, right? By learning them or by, getting them from other people. However, on the other hand, you don't want to over allocate your resources. I mean, if you think about it, if all you have to give is energy and that means by taking action, you're expending your energy, then you need to invest and commit to this energy wisely because you only got so much energy, or let's say time. You only have 24 hours a day, and you got to go to work, you got to take care of the kids, you got to work out, you got to take care of your health, right? You have to listen to Tracy's podcast, right? I mean, that could be 15 minutes a day, right? So then you need to invest your energy and your time wisely. Okay, so after listening to Tracy's podcast, you got 23 hours and 45 minutes left. Okay, and here are two questions when it comes to this economy of force that really kind of help things out. One is, how important is this goal? That will kind of give you an idea how much time you're willing to commit. And then the second one is, follow this one up right after it. How important is this goal to me? Because sometimes you may be set upon a goal by others, by your boss, by your wife, by your girlfriend, by your sibling, by a friend. That's really not for you. And that will help say, you know what, it's an important goal, but it's not that important to me. Now you can reallocate your resources accordingly to those goals that are important to you, right? And those around you. So here are a couple of actions I want you to take. Well, obviously, one, I want you to really answer the question, what do you want? Okay? And that's going to lead you into clearly defining your goals, which we're going to talk about a whole lot more tomorrow. Know what you want, and more importantly, know how you can tell when you have it. It's one thing to say, I want to be rich. Well, to me, rich is one number. To you, rich might be an entirely different number. But by saying something like, I want $150,000 in a savings account, and I want to have an annual income of another $150,000. Well, then when you reach that goal, when you look at your bank account and say, whoa, I have $150,000. Whoa, look at my paycheck. It equals $150,000. Guess what? Check, cha-ching, goal done, moving on. Number two, just the facts, ma'am, right? I remember growing up, that's a quote from the old TV, like I mentioned earlier, TV series Dragnet. With the facts and just the facts, they were able to catch the crook and save the day. You can do the same thing. Catch your goal, right? And save yourself time by getting just the facts, ma'am. Okay? The better information you acquire before you make a decision, the better your decision. Get the real facts, just the facts, and nothing but the facts. And lastly, like I said, be flexible. When you start moving towards your goal, you're going to have a clear idea of what it is. You may have a clear idea of how you're going to get there. But as you receive that feedback, you're going to need to course correct. There are going to be changes to the plan. Today's world, wow. I mean, just think about it. In 1999, at the new millennium, what was an iPod? What was an iPad? What was an iPhone? How much do those change our world? Today's world is ever evolving. It's changing so fast. It's maddening. You can find some good ideas today. Tomorrow there will be even better ideas, and the ones you have today, they're being contradicted by new information and new technology. So, be willing to try new and different methods, new and better approaches, new things, and always be open to feedback, input, and ideas. Okay, there it is. Go do that. And remember, like I keep saying, know what you really want. So tomorrow we can continue a bit more on goal setting. We're going to talk about making them challenging but achievable. Talk to you then. Think successfully and take action.